So I know my third grade year, my first ever musical, and it was The Lion King, and I was water.
Hello, and welcome back to the Voice for You podcast, where we empower the leaders of today and tomorrow. I'm your host, Jeshwant Vana. Today, I'm joined by a young leader in our community. She is a dedicated advocate for social equality, but through the ways of coding. As a volunteer webmaster for the STEM with DRC, she is able to secure funds for 180 Congolese students in the DRC. She has also spoken as a youth panelist for the Enstika Foundation Youth Fellowship in South Africa, traveling there this past summer. Not only does she have a justice side to her, but she also has competed in many coding competitions, such as earning the first prize in the MIT SureStart Data Jam, and has harbored many apps through the MIT Future Makers program. Her work has definitely not gone unnoticed, as she was named a Koch Scholar and an Amazon Scholar. Leading her community through a code for a more equal society, she is Miss Imanga Lufungulo. How are you doing today, Imanga?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing well. It is sunny outside, so after many days, it's been raining here for the past 3 or 4 days, so nice to have some sunlight outside now.
Yeah, it's pretty cloudy for me. Hopefully it gets pretty hot.
I think the weather pattern's just pushing up. You can't really get rid of clouds like that. But obviously we have to address the elephant in the room due to technical issues. The manga's camera has to be off, but we still want to bring the best content to the audience as possible. And the fact that, first off, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and talking with us today.
Yeah, of
It does really
course.
mean a lot, especially with all the technical issues. Yeah. So thank you so much. So before we begin the real questions, tell me a little bit more about yourself, your hobbies, your passions, and who you are as a person.
So I was born and grew up in Toledo, Ohio, which is in northwest Ohio near the border of Michigan. And I attend an all-girls high school. And during high school, I was able to try a lot of new things and truly get to know myself. For example, I love theater musicals, and I've been participating in plays and musicals all throughout high school for 4 years. I also enjoy sports. Like I did track for 2 years. I was a sprinter 1 year, then a thrower the next year because I don't know. I love just trying new things like throwing. Who would have thought that little Imanga could be a thrower? And then obviously I love using my voice and speaking out on things that I care about, which led me to become my school's African American club president. And fun fact, this year we also grew to be the largest club in the school and one of the most hyped clubs, which is definitely something considering that my school is predominantly white. I also do love mixing my two greatest passions, which is coding and social justice in everything I do. So I have been able to get into coding my freshman year, and throughout high school, I've been able to learn about the different sectors. And I love how it's definitely very versatile and how I can combine different passions in order to create change. So yeah, it's a little bit about me.
Definitely, having so many different passions is what makes, a person a person. You are athletic, musically gifted, and academic, which is, in my opinion, the trifecta. So yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
to pertain with your passions and all that, I like to start my interviews with an icebreaker question. So if you could have one song to describe, or let's say if you could have one musical to describe your life, what would it be and why?
Oh, a musical to describe my life? I would say, actually, I like that question a lot. Okay, I'm gonna say La La Land. La La Land. It might be, I'm a bit biased because it is also one of my favorite movies
Yes.
of all time because it's so good. But I love it
Definitely.
because how the two main characters, how they both go towards their true dream in life. And even though it did cause things that they didn't want to happen, they know that it's in their best interest. So definitely La La Land.
Definitely,
I love.
definitely. La La Land is a beautiful movie. Damien Chazelle, Emma Stone, Ryan Gosling. It really is a good movie, and it is obviously a musical, but it is also a cinematic masterpiece. So definitely, I need to get myself around to watching La La Land. I'll be so honest. I haven't had the time recently. Yeah, it is summertime, so you can do whatever, whenever now,
Yeah.
because obviously I'm going to senior, so I'm going to be more packed, yeah, but it is summertime, so you can't be doing work 24/7, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, as a senior that has graduated, first off, congratulations on graduating. I know it is a
Yeah.
big deal that you finished your lower studies and all that. So, as a senior that has graduated, what school have you committed to, and what about that college, attracted you to commit there?
Yeah, so I will be attending Columbia University in the fall, majoring in computer science and then minoring in dramatic and theater arts. So I always, when I was younger, my main dream in life was to become an actor. So I always wanted to be in the big cities like New York or LA. But then I had an aunt who lives in New York, and that really like solidified my dream of going to New York. And then as the years came, I kind of like realized that I don't know if I would want to be in a big city. But then last summer, I had the privilege of going to New York again, and I visited Columbia for the first time. And the minute I stepped onto that campus, I knew I was home. I knew I was home. I love the community and just like the atmosphere of the campus. And you can't even like talk about Columbia without talking about like its amazing faculty and its facilities, which is amazing for computer science. They are at the forefront of innovation. But also, since Columbia is in New York City, the hotspot of the entertainment industry, I knew that I could be able to explore both of my passions at the same time.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, like you said, New York is the biggest city in the U.S. So, yeah, definitely, and Columbia too, being an Ivy League, it's, a lot more, bigger stuff, happening, and
Yeah.
especially with, like the coding scene. I know New York, there's, there's obviously like a business street, like Wall Street, and then obviously you're a minor in dramatic arts, so Broadway. I can't really say for sure if there's a coding street per se, but
And
you know,
we don't have like a
yeah,
Silicon
but
Valley
definitely,
type. Yeah.
yeah, no, Silicon Valley. I guess you could say that's the coding street of the world. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But you could always create your own street up there. I mean, it is New
Exactly.
York City. Exactly. Yeah. So obviously you are going to Columbia for a major in um computer science and coding. So how did you develop this passion for coding?
Yeah, so I always was into STEM and introduced to STEM, considering that my mom is a college professor in electrical engineering. STEM was always like pushed like at my direction. But I really started getting more interested in computer science, I would say seventh grade, when I first did my first hour of code. And I really loved it because I saw my ideas materialize in real life right in front of me, and how like every little action I do has visible results. And then in eighth grade, I took my first computer science class through the local university. And in that class, looking back, I was such a newbie, but I loved how it's very simple to first get into computer science. Like when you are interested, there's so many resources out there, and it is explained very easily to understand. So that class kind of wasn't too scary for me because it was explained in simple terms. And I loved it too because I was able to see the different sectors in computer science. And then freshman year, I did Google Code Next, and all throughout high school, I did Girls Who Code. And I was able to learn about the many different ways computer science can be used and how it's also implemented in many diverse fields. For example, in Google Code Next, you're able to compose songs and beats using Python. And then Girls Who's Code, I was able to make like a personality quiz with like JavaScript and all that. And that's kind of why I love computer science, because I believe that in whatever passion, whatever field you are interested in, computer science can definitely be implemented. And that's how I fell in love with computer science, because I was able to learn that it can also be used to combat social injustices and highlight biases through data science. So that is how I got into computer science.
Definitely. Like you said, computer science is definitely some way to branch off into the bigger picture. Our world is being run by softwares and computer science more day by day, and having
Exactly.
young leaders like yourself take head and take force and go into it, that definitely is something. So obviously you did mention like you have done work with like Girls Who Code and other coding, and obviously your mom is a professor. So, did you ever you obviously got your passion from, your mom and, working as an electric engineer. Did you watch her do her work or like teach a class, or did you ever like come home and teach her? Like, how did that work?
The most memorable thing I remember is when I was like much younger, when she was getting her PhD, she had this one project she had to do. I think it was like making like a telegram or something, but like with like at home supplies. And I remember watching her in the kitchen on the evenings working on that and explaining each part to me. And it really piqued my interest in STEM because my own mom was like creating something that would work with items that we see every day. So that was like really cool. And then she told me about like coding by getting a Lego Mindstorm. It's just like those like Lego robots you build, and then you have an app to like code it and stuff. So she was like definitely always supportive of my passion. And seeing her made me realize that like I can be in this field. Like I never really had that mindset that I don't belong because I always saw someone who would like me excel in that field.
Definitely. Like you said, that is probably the most electrical engineering one can get. Everything can be powered with electricity through like chemistry and stuff. I took AP Chem this past year, so we did learn about like alloys and like interstitial alloys, substitutional alloys, and all of that. Chemistry plays into electrical engineering and how anything can conduct electricity. And obviously, with your mom being a professor, she has more knowledge on that aspect due to the fact that she teaches it, and also as a professor, she probably has conducted her own, research because, if you're a professor, not only do you teach, that's the difference between a high school teacher and like a professor. High school teachers, they just teach, but, professors, they teach, but also do their own research on the side for something that they are passionate about, which is what makes a professor really like interesting and stuff. Definitely. And, your mom, like using everyday items to create a telegram. Once again, a telegram is not a used item in today's day and age. Like it's not as used as something else. So the fact that she was able to make all that is crazy, and which did also spark your interest. Obviously, you have to live around that. A parental influence is definitely something that makes a lot of kids' minds up on what they want to do, whether it's in a good way or a bad way. So yeah, definitely. So like you said, you've gotten all this experience in coding, but you were also a part of the MIT Future Makers.
Yes.
And you were able to develop apps with the MIT Future Makers. So could you give a quick or lengthy or whatever, how long description you want on what these apps did or what they are?
Yeah, so almost every day consisted of like creating just like a very, very simple app with what we learned. But the main app that we developed through the duration of the program was the one that we presented at the Create-a-thon at the end. And that app, we called it FitQuest. And we had an idea to just like build a fitness app because we were all interested in fitness. Like I'm interested in fitness, even though I don't like working out. So it's kind of like ironic. But that was an app that we started developing, and we learned different ways to, because MIT Future Makers also highlighted implementing artificial intelligence and like your everyday life in these apps. So we were able to implement that in the app. And the app basically was a workout app where if you have certain goals, you would input your goals, you would put in the calories of the food that you ate as well. And then you could ask for a personalized fitness plan, or if you do want to do like a meal plan, you could do like a meal plan if you wanted. And the AI would take into account like your BMI, like your activity level, your daily mobility level, and everything like that to make it more accessible and inclusive to everyone who might have like different needs and stuff. And then a little fun part that we added is we thought that we want to make our app also a learning app, because to differentiate ourselves from other fitness apps, so we kind of implement like this area where you could do different workouts, were like very popular like workouts or fitness that people do but are often overlooked in like the cultural sense. For example, one very popular one is yoga. Like everyone knows what yoga is, but not everyone knows the deep meanings behind each pose and everything. So we just like wanted to open people's eyes on that as well. But we basically throughout the program made many different apps. Some apps we used this like data monitor thing, and we would like, for example, do an app that showed the relation between your refrigerator temperature and the light is on, and like how much you open the fridge each day, how much like energy you like lose and stuff. Just like many different like apps like that.
Definitely. Did you have a personal collection? Which one of the apps was your favorite to, code and make?
I felt my favorite code was definitely the one that we presented at the Create-a-thon, and it was like the FitQuest app, because as I said earlier, I love fitness and I love learning, and they kind of combine both my passions. And it was also my favorite because that was the one that we had truly free reign on. The other apps we made, we were kind of like told to make an app around that subject, but for this one, it was truly because we wanted to do this, because we saw an issue, we wanted to combat that issue.
Definitely, that is a big problem in today's age, obesity, especially in the US. So the fact that and obviously you are big on fitness too, so, you've made that connection between that and all the other apps which you have created too. And obviously, are these apps like available for like downloading on like the App Store, or was it just like a side project, or?
Yeah, it was like a side project. We could have made it, but we didn't go like that far because it still like definitely had a few tweaks.
But you still have the experience, you can always make it again, publish it as your
Yeah.
own too now, because you do have the experience on top of that. So not only were these apps the only thing that you worked on with MIT, but, technically not working with here, but you did place first in the MIT and Sure Start Data Jam. So are these two opportunities linked together? How did you find out about this Data Jam, and, what was your experience, just competing in that and, earning first place?
So the Data Jam, it was a part of the MIT Future Makers program near the end. So basically, MIT Future Makers is a collaboration of Sure Start and the MIT Raise program. And during that Data Jam, your team would work for an entire week to create like a stakeholder reference of an app and like all the business aspects, as well as like a concept form of a new app every single day and present it. And in order to win that, the team with the most points over that week would be the winner. So in essence, every day we would have about, I want to say 2 hours, we'd be given a prompt, which is like an issue. And then we were given time to work with our team to create a whole slideshow presentation on what app you would build, what stakeholders would invest in it, why they would invest in it, who it would help, as well as a concept form of the app, each different screen and button and what they would do. And we would present that in front of everyone at the end. And then we did that for 5 days straight. And then my team, luckily, we were able to win the Data Jam.
That is still first. How many people are on your team that worked with you throughout the course of, this competition per se?
My team was small. I would say each team is pretty small, but we're also split up in tracks. So my team, I think, consisted of, we had 8 people, but then during the Data Jam, people started school, so they didn't show up at all. So I believe we only had 6 people. So we thought we were at a disadvantage because other teams had more, but we pushed through.
Definitely. It doesn't matter how small or big a team is, if they put in the work and, do all what is needed, then obviously you come out on top. And, your situation is definitely a prime example of that. Did you serve like a certain role on the team, or was it just like everybody do the same thing and it just gain more points as everyone does it together?
Yeah, so like the first day it was like that, and then we realized that's like a little bit unorganized because someone might forget to do this section. But I typically made the stakeholder spreadsheet as well as I helped on the concept app, and it worked pretty smoothly going in that order because the time went by fast. Like, we were given a lot of time, yet it was just so much to do. But luckily, my team was very efficient, and we knew from the get-go that we needed to assign people to certain areas because it would be easier.
Definitely. Time, especially in competitions with time, even if it's not a competition, like take exams, for example, time does run really fast. You feel like you have all the time in the world, but you look down, you start working, you look back up, there's 5 minutes left on the clock. So that's definitely always something. And obviously you and your team did realize that, combating the fact that you didn't have enough time, and the fact that all of y'all worked on the same thing together, it always obviously is not gonna work. So the fact y'all split it up, that is just a normal team, essence of how a team is supposed to work. Not everybody's supposed to do the same thing. Yeah, definitely. So not only do you have a STEM side to you, but you also have a passion for humanitarian work, such as being a STEM DRC volunteer master. So, how do you believe your coding abilities have created an impact on the humanitarian field?
Yeah, so definitely. So I created the website for STEM DRs back in 2018, where my coding experience was very minimal. However, throughout the years, I've been able to improve the website. And I love it because it made it more accessible to see and more visibility. But not only am I the webmaster, I also volunteer for that nonprofit as well. For example, back in 2020, when we awarded some more scholarships, had the privilege in order to go back to Congo and see the award ceremony. And seeing the people who would benefit from my work, benefit from the efforts, and see your work be rewarded it was just so heartwarming, because it definitely gave a face to a name, but also showed how real change, real impact is definitely being made through this organization. And it kind of showed me that computer science advances the world, and how people who dream of being in this field are not given the opportunity to be in the field because of the field. It's kind of a little riddle, but So definitely, I would say it showed me how computer science is truly the backbone of a lot of things, and how many people benefit from it.
Definitely. How did you get this opportunity to work with the STEM or DRC, even if it is a volunteer position?
Okay, so I'm a part of my local Congolese community of Toledo, just a local community of Congolese in Toledo. And I remember they were mentioning it, and I really wanted to get involved. And when I got involved, it was just starting out, so it was much easier to get involved. And I just joined, and I said, hey, I could make a website for this idea, for this nonprofit, and then just started from there.
Definitely. I've been trying to find website designers too for my podcast, a website. But, definitely it's not easy to find people that can work. And obviously you're giving back to your community. As I'm assuming you are from the DRC yourself. So you are giving back to your community, which, like I did mention, a STEM side. Yeah, your STEM side and humanitarian side, put together into one to create an impact on today's society. So definitely. So apart from this coding side, you're also, like I've mentioned, you have a humanitarian field. You are humanitarian as well, such as traveling to South Africa as a sole youth panelist to speak a part for the Enstica Foundation Youth Fellowships. How was that experience, traveling there over the last summer?
It was really, really nice. It was really fun. So the day I went, because it was a 4-day fellowship, I only attended the last 2 days. I could have went the second day, but I heard that they were going to do a 5 a.m. hike, and I was like, okay, I can just attend the last 2 days. And I went there, and it was beautiful. It was so nice because it was in a secluded area away from a big city and everything, and it was surrounded by greenery. And I got to meet so many incredible people. So there were a lot of youth there, but mainly college level students, as well as just adults, investors, South African senators, and even the deputy president, who ended up doing a talk the last night. It was really cool meeting him. But going there was definitely cool because I was selected to speak on a panel of all of these adults, and I was the only one who was. I was 16. And I was the only one who was 16. Definitely one of the youngest people who were actually in the fellowship as a whole. And speaking there was so cool because I was able to share my passion with people who might need that help in how to share their own passion, who might need that confidence boosted themselves. So it was definitely a privilege and a great opportunity. And I definitely recommend to everyone, to attend fellowships that are local and everywhere, and also to go to South Africa. It was a nice country. I loved it.
Definitely. So what did you speak about while you were there in South Africa? What was the topic you spoke on as a panelist?
So I mainly talked about how I was able to be more confident in myself as a youth, and because I believe that oftentimes we are told by like older people, like, okay, yeah, it's just a dream, you know, it's not reality, like, be more realistic, and that oftentimes causes us to not be more confident in our abilities and in what we can do to achieve our dreams. So I was talking about how I started my own small business during COVID, and how having a great support system allowed me to have the confidence to be proud of what I did and to be proud and advance what I did. I also talked about how I also had to undergo a lot of internal change, how my freshman year I was really shy, really reserved, and I wasn't really participating in many things, but how over the years I realized that no one else is going to speak up for you if you don't speak up for yourself first, and how your voice is truly crucial, and how you must know how to use your own voice to advocate for yourself and for others. And how this realization caused me to grow as a person, allowed me to grow in my abilities. And that kind of showed by me speaking in front of 200 other people and meeting all these incredible people. Because freshman year me wouldn't have done that. I would have been too shy, too anxious. But how if you have a great support system and great confidence in yourself, you'll be able to achieve things that you never would have believed were possible. Just like empowering the youth.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, power of the youth. That is the main essence of this whole podcast. The tagline is
Exactly.
empowering the leaders of today and tomorrow. So yeah, so powering the youth definitely, and the fact you went to South Africa and spoke amongst, like you said, all these people, like African senators, the deputy president at the time in South Africa, shows
Yeah.
how much impact you have had. So how did you get this opportunity to speak there to begin with? Did you network? Did they come to you, or?
So what happened was, before I went to South Africa, I have an uncle who lives there, and I told him, do you know any opportunities, like anything I can do, like just anything? So I wanted an internship, and I did do an internship for that company as well near the end of my time in South Africa. But I asked him if he knows any internships, and then luckily his neighbor was the founder, CEO of this company. It's like an IT consulting company at first, but they also decided to take a little and do fellowships as well to empower the youth. And then he connected me with him, and we were just communicating just for my internship. But then he mentioned the Youth Day Fellowship, and I had to little self-promote when I was talking to him, yes, I believe that's very important. I talked about my past experiences at my school and stuff. And then he basically asked if I wanted to be a panelist on the segment, and I agreed immediately.
That is a big deal too, networking. The fact that your uncle's neighbor set you up for you traveling to Africa and, talking to all these people and, experiencing how South Africa is like. Because personally, I've always wanted to go on an African safari. That's always been a dream of mine since I was a little kid. So, that's, yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the first time I went to.
Yeah. Did you go on a safari while you were there?
Yeah, it was really crazy because it wasn't my first time in Africa, but my first time in South Africa.
Yeah.
And I was I really want to go on a safari. So we went on one.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny because there's a lion in front of us. It was gnawing at a tire of the car in front of us. It was we're oh my gosh.
That's so cool, definitely. Because I know the Congo, that's not really safari territory. That's more of green and the mountainous areas. There's more gorillas in the Congo than there is lions and stuff. But yeah, definitely, because that's what makes any continent great. There's multiple different aspects to anywhere. Obviously, you've been to the Congo as a Congolese. You've experienced that, but you also got to experience South Africa with your journey with the Enstica Foundation. But networking can take you so far, very, very far. And also, a part of your activism and your humanitarianism, you also serve as a civics and social justice intern at Turn Up Activism. I've actually heard of Turn Up because as any other high schooler would that wants an internship, they'll search up free internships online, and Turn Up was one that I came across a lot. So did you have a big role with Turn Up and as an intern with them?
I wouldn't say I had a major role, but I did learn a lot from it. I did put a lot into it. I was an intern for 3 months, and I put about, I want to say, 5 to 10 hours of work in each week. And I learned a lot. I learned like a lot. And it showed me also how like a lot of the things that goes on, it's very easy to learn about, but we just don't take the time to actually research and learn about. There's many things that I learned that I could do, like I didn't know, because I wasn't able to register to vote. I still can't because I'm not 18. But I didn't know that we could, I guess, kind of pre-register. Like once you're 18, you can like already be able to once you are signed up and stuff. And I just learned a lot through that organization, and I love sharing what I learned with other people. So I was able to do like a voting drive in my school, so I passed out like flyers and stuff, and then or like took a couple of friends and I had like online. And it just showed me how using your voice is important, but mostly important for the youth, because they did highlight youth involvement, youth empowerment.
Definitely. That is the whole point of Turn Up. I didn't do too much research. I didn't like go into it like in depth, but definitely the social justice aspect and the civics aspect. Obviously, as a humanitarian yourself, you are able to resonate to all of this too.
Yes.
And as high schoolers, free internships like this that give you an opportunity to explore more is what we really need in this society.
Exactly.
Definitely, yeah. So coming back to your coding roots, you were also a 2-time NCWIT aspirations in computer rising star. How were you able to get that twice? Like, how did that work?
Applied for it my sophomore and junior year, because you can apply for it every year you want, but I know that you can only win the national title once. So I applied for it my sophomore year when I first heard about it, and the application is really nice because you do put your experience, but you also put the reason like why, for like why you're interested in this, why you care so much. And because I love the company, because I've heard about the organization and I've heard about like what they do. And they gave good merch, FYI. Like when I get the award, like I have like a medal and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's how I did it. I just talked about my experience is one part of me, but the main core of who I am is definitely like why I do what I do, my passion.
Exactly. Like you said, you are passionate for coding, so doing what you do and being passionate about it, definitely. And obviously you were 2 times, so not only did you say what you're passionate for help you once, but helped you twice,
Exactly,
So
yes.
it really, really got to them, too. And obviously, while we were talking, earlier about who you are as a person, you were, proudly talking about the African American club at your school and as president. And you did mention that it is one of the biggest clubs, even in a predominantly white school. So how were you able to rise up the ranks and, build the club up from, a smaller club to one of the larger clubs in your school?
The main thing I did to make our club very different than the other clubs was also by making it more not just an in-school thing. Like most clubs you just meet during school, during lunch, or during like certain periods, but for us, we would meet up during school, of course, but we had so many activities outside of school with the other local like Catholic schools clubs. Like for example, we have like our brother school, and we would team up with them or would host events in which other schools were able to come. And I think that made more people want to join the club, because some people might be too scared, like if they're freshmen, they might not know people yet. So they'll be like,
Exactly.
They would want their friend from another school to come. And by opening the doors, definitely allowed more people to feel more comfortable in our club. We also have many outside of school events as well. We have like an ice cream social, we have a soul food dinner, just stuff to make sure our members know that it's not just a club, but like a second family to you. Because that's the feeling that I felt when I first joined. I felt like a second family, and I want to give that feeling back. We've created our school's Black History Month Assembly. So that's another thing. And throughout the years, it's been getting more and more just fun. Like we bring in a dance team and they dance. We bring in speakers. We brought in sorority before, being like singers. just make it very attention grabbing so people can hear our message in the masses.
Definitely. I'm the secretary, two-time secretary. I am going on for my second term, technically speaking, for my school's AAPI club, Asian American Pacific Islander. Obviously, when they think of Asian American, they go straight to like China, Korea, Japan. But the Indian subcontinent is still a part of Asia, and like you said, being African American, showing the people your roots and what you strive for. That's definitely something that I definitely resonate with too, because I am a part of multiple different cultural communities in my area. AAPI, we have a community that centers around like where I'm from in India. I speak Telugu at home, so there's a whole community for that. It's one of the larger communities here. I serve as the youth president for that. So, having your culture play a big part in who you are, especially as immigrants, that's definitely something that makes us, unique. It makes America. But, as an immigrant yourself and you're part of immigrant family, what is your favorite part about your culture?
My favorite part, I love how we come together when it matters the most, and how unity is very important. Because I know that there's this one proverb this grandma would always tell me. It was like a finger alone cannot do anything. You need a whole hand. So how when we come together is when we truly advance. Is when we truly put forth change. And I just love how Congolese people, how we can band together when it matters most. It's like any other community and stuff, there are issues and stuff, but if someone is threatening us, someone is threatening our culture, someone is threatening any one person, we're all gonna come together. So I love that about my culture and about being Congolese.
Definitely, that's something every person should take pride in. You're your people, that's your roots and your family. So the fact y'all are able to come together as one and support one each other, definitely. So not only do you have you're obviously academically gifted, you are a musically inclined, but you also are a businesswoman, managing a small business on the side. So what is this business centered around, and has any of your past work helped you build this business in general?
So I made my business in 7th grade, because that's when COVID hit for me. I was in 7th grade and I was at home and I was just so bored. There's nothing for me to do, so I looked up easy crafts to do on YouTube. And I came across bath bombs first, and I loved bath bombs. I loved buying them, but making them I didn't love. Because looking back, I always messed it up, because I don't know why, but I always added water in the recipe, which would make it fizz up.
Yeah,
So
that is the point of a bath bomb, yeah.
So then I moved on to soap making, and I first went into melt and pour soap. It's when you would buy a soap base, cut it up, add the essential oils and colors. But then I wanted to be more into curating specific soaps that would actually help your skin, that are specialized to you. So I learned more into what actually goes into soaps, what oils help, what you need to make it solidify and everything. And then once I had the good foundation and basics down, I started making soap by scratch. And I did obviously have a few errors, because there's this lye water you have to use with the oils, and that in itself can burn it pretty bad. And there was a time I inhaled a little too much of it, or it went on my skin, and that's not good for you. But it was really fun craft, and I wanted to do soap making because I wanted to combat COVID. I was I need to end COVID. I need to make soap because everybody still wash their hands and stuff. That's how it first started. And then I first started selling into family and stuff. It wasn't too much because again, it was COVID. We were quarantined.
Yes.
But during my 8th grade and freshman year, when the restrictions were definitely looser, I was able to send it out to a lot of family and a lot of friends, and they would spread the word to door friends as well. And then I officially got the LLC, I think sophomore year, and then I made a little website for it. But my small business is more of yes, revenue is good, but I'm not doing it for the revenue. I'm doing it because it's just genuinely fun to make soap. It's it's fun to be like a business owner, you know, and doing something kind of like
Definitely.
I don't have to deal with all these expectations because I set my own expectations for this, you know.
Definitely. Have you created? Obviously, you do create soap. I'm assuming that's like what the whole business like idea
Yes.
is. What is like the different? Because I know soaps have different like smells, different flavors. What is your favorite flavor that you have created?
It's a tie between my vanilla one and then like my rose one. Cause smell wise, the vanilla one just smells. I love vanilla, so I love the vanilla ones. But the rose one, it smells good, but like it just looks good too. It looks like kind of tasty. I don't want to eat it because it's like subtle like pink, like a pale pink with like rose petals on top, and it looks gorgeous. And then my vanilla one is like a normal like yellow vanilla bar. So like smell wise, definitely the vanilla one, but like presentation and like look wise, the rose.
The rose. Obviously, you don't want to eat a soap bar because I don't think that's good for your stomach.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, probably not. But if you want to plug your, business, I respect business. Say that one more time.
It's called Usafi LLC, USAFI, because it's like that means to clean.
Definitely. I respect business, and I have a lot of stuff business oriented in my extracurriculars too. I currently serve. Do you know what FBLA is? They might.
I have heard of it, but none of the schools near me have it. So can you like explain a little bit?
Yeah, it's a CTSO, a career technical student organization that is nationwide. Yeah, multiple. And I currently serve as the Tennessee, obviously I'm from Memphis, so Tennessee State. I serve as the state vice president. So, business does play a big part in who I am as a person. And I've always wanted to create a business myself. I've been thinking about starting a clothing brand for a very long time. I am also a graphic designer on the side.
Well, that's incredible. Okay, graphic design.
Yeah, like you said, you were bored during COVID and started creating soaps. I got bored during COVID and started creating posters on Canva. So, everyone was bored everyone was bored during COVID. You got to figure out something to do. And obviously it could take you so far. Obviously you started your own LLC. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to start a business per se, but the work that I have made has been shown on a very massive scale. Obviously, I'm assuming maybe you don't, but do you know who KSI is?
KSI?
Yes, the YouTuber.
Yeah.
Yes, so basically one of my artworks, I submitted it on his Reddit page. He goes over that every week or something, and it was featured. That's one of my favorite fun facts to say. I was featured on a YouTube page with over 16 million subscribers with my artwork just because, I'm passionate for it. Like you were passionate, and you were just, you found it fun to create soaps. So, definitely passion can take you so far, and also boredom. And it is also crazy to think about how far time has come, because it doesn't feel like COVID was so long ago, but I was in 6th grade, you were in 7th grade. And now you've graduated high school. I'm going into my senior year. So it's just crazy to think about how fast time moves along.
Yes, time has passed. It's going by fast.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. Definitely. And that makes you realize you need to take every second you have for granted. Do what you love, and definitely. So not only are you a businesswoman, but you also have time. You have found the time to perform as an actor in musicals. So in your opinion, what is the most, the best musical, or your favorite musical that you've ever been a part of, ever?
Oh, okay. I love this question. Okay, so I have two. One of them, we just finished the show near the beginning of May, and it's called Holiday Inn. And I loved that musical because it was so dynamic. There were so many different parts. The dance numbers were amazing, and the story in itself was incredible. There was this one dance part where I had to jump rope in the middle of the scene, and it was so fun. During a song, the costumes were great. I loved that show. The songs, I still listen to the soundtrack when I'm driving home. And then my second favorite, or like, this is actually tied for first two, is called Curtains. And this one is more unknown, but it is incredible. Like, if you have the opportunity to like watch that musical or for schools performing it, either be a part of it or join. And it's a murder mystery in a musical during a musical. So like the characters are performing a musical and then a murder happens and they have to solve that murder while still continuing the musical because there's
Performing
like
the musical.
a big audience and it's like still there. And that show was really
Definitely.
cool because like I didn't even know who the actual murderer was until like opening night because it was like so hard to find out in like the rehearsal schedules. So even I was like interested in like, wait, who's the actual murderer? And it just takes you
Yeah.
on so many different twists and turns. The songs were amazing, the dance numbers, like there was tap numbers, jazz numbers, sad parts, happy parts. It was amazing. I loved Curtains as well. That was like my sophomore year, and like I can talk about that one all day. Like let me stop myself. It's so good.
Did you get into like musicals and being an actor? Obviously, you are going to college now in a minor for drama arts. So, how did you get that passion for, acting and, performing in musicals?
It started in, well, for acting, because I love Disney. Like growing up, I love watching Disney. So I feel like almost like a lot of kids were
Definitely.
like, I want to be a Disney actor. I want to be a Disney actor. But
Definitely.
then,
Definitely.
like at my like elementary school, everyone we would have a musical every year. Like fifth grade would have a musical. Then sixth through eighth grade would have a musical, and it was like required. Like we would have to partake in it. So I know my third grade year, my first ever musical, and it was The Lion King, and I was water. And even though I was such a small part, just swaying in the background wearing blue, I love being a part of the show because a musical, yes, it is like what you perform and stuff, but it's also the build up, it's also like the preparation, the rehearsals, the people you meet along the way.
Definitely.
And it makes it so much more memorable. So I remember The Lion King also because it's also like a very popular musical. Everyone knows who The Lion King is, or mostly everyone.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I just,
That's
that's my
yeah.
favorite, my passion.
Yeah. That's my favorite Disney movie of all time. The Lion King is definitely my favorite. I have like a top three, so it'd be The Lion King, and then like The Emperor's New Groove. That's my second. If you haven't seen it, definitely highly recommend it.
It's
It's
real fun.
so underrated to the point where it's like I don't understand why it didn't get the love it deserves, like
Yeah.
genuinely. And then after that, Aladdin, because I was able to resonate with it,
Yes, it's another
and
one that performed.
Aladdin's really good. I personally loved Aladdin, but Lion King is definitely my favorite movie. As a kid, I was obsessed with animals. Yeah, as a kid, I was obsessed with animals. So obviously, Lion King, animals.
My favorite animal is
Definitely.
lion.
Mine's actually the complete opposite. I am a big tiger guy.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, that's been my favorite animal for a hot second, a very
They
hot
look
second. Like
cool.
I
Tigers do
remember
look
all my friends, yeah, obviously, everyone has their reasons for their favorite animals and stuff too. But my friends know I love tigers so much. Like the other day, my friend sent me an edit on TikTok of a tiger.
cool.
So I rep tigers like super hard. But obviously, coming back to the acting part, that's obviously every kid's dream. When I think musical, obviously you were inspired by like Disney actors and all that. I would say I have the exact same dream too. Like if I could have a dream job, it would definitely be to be a film director or a film actor or something in film, you know,
Yeah.
because I've yeah, I've always had that connection with film. And while you felt that connection with Disney, I have been very big on Indian movies. That is something that's played a major part in my life, you know, every day. And obviously, when it comes to musicals, the first thing they think of is like,
Mhm.
well, the first thing I think of is Bollywood. They are very big on musicals. In India itself, there's obviously multiple different woods in Indian cinema, but yeah,
Mhm.
I can definitely resonate with, and that's still a dream of mine. I still want to, pursue film, and I was thinking about doing it as a minor. I did take the film class in
You
my
should.
school
I
this
recommend
past, year. Yes, I really want to do film as a minor, but
Go
hopefully
for
that
it,
happens.
honestly.
Yeah, we're all still kids at the end of the day. Dreams is
Mhm.
what everyone should have, definitely.
Exactly.
But yeah. But you have your humanitarian work, you have your coding work, you have your musicals, you have your business, but like you also are a athletic person, like we've already mentioned. Running track. So obviously you did touch up on what you did as a competition, but could you go into more depth on what you did a part of track and how that shaped you as a person?
Yeah, so even though my track career was pretty short lived, just 2 years, I loved every minute of it. Like there are times I was like hanging out with my friends and I should say I miss track. Cause I first started my sophomore year as opposed to like freshman year. Cause I was really shy freshman year. Like I'm telling you guys, I was really shy. So sophomore year I first started track and I loved it from the beginning. Not every aspect because I don't really love running, but the feeling of accomplishment after you finish a race, because the moment you're about to start the race, your stomach is in knots. Like the feeling, it honestly sucks at first, that feeling when you know you're about to race. And you see the people next to you in line doing all their warm-ups, like looking so ready. And since it was my first year, I was definitely nervous. But once I felt like the pistol go off and I crossed that finish line, I might not have gone first, but I just felt so accomplished, felt so proud of myself for that work. Because for track, you're going against yourself. It's an individual sport, and I love that because you're always trying to do better than what you previously did, rather than like trying to like you don't have to focus on beating others, but just focus on beating yourself. Your mind is your biggest limiter. Because for track, everyone on our team, like our coaches did it, so like everyone on our team, no matter what event you normally run, like if you run a 400 or 100 or 1600, everyone will be running the 400 at least once. And if you've never run that 400, let me tell you, it is one of the worst feelings, worst pains you will ever feel. Like when it was my turn to run, like oh my goodness, it was horrible. Like at first you start off amazing, like yes, I got it, it's not that bad.
Yes, you
And
got
then we
it.
had
Yeah.
200-meter mark, and you're like, I still have halfway
Done.
to go. And then the last 100, everything is hurting. Like it's hard to even breathe. And when you cross that finish line, you go on the ground. You lay on the ground for a good 10 minutes. But even though it is so painful, you're going to be proud of yourself for finally doing it. Because I know that if I didn't do it, I would have felt more bad. I've been like, dang, like I really just
Did
like limited myself.
accomplish.
I'm
Yeah.
really like, yeah, it's like, even if it's hard, Chad told me that like, even if it's hard, still do it. Because you're gonna feel good in the end. And then junior year, I wasn't a runner, but I did throwing instead. And throwing is also, guys, very underrated. Don't disrespect the thrower because also a lot of work, definitely more weightlifting. And I love weightlifting, fun fact. Even though I might not have been good, like I could only bench 80. When I hit that PR though, I felt so accomplished.
You feel good. Yeah.
Yes. And I love how like technique is also at the forefront because I did discus throwing and you definitely have to have like the technique and the rotation down. And I just like love practicing each day because not only was my team such an amazing community, but they're also super supportive. Like whenever someone got a PR, we would get like a sticker, we would like celebrate it from the whole entire team. Whenever someone did good, we would all celebrate it together. And I loved how the community and the support that track had, because it was incredible. Because I feel like sometimes you might be really good at a sport and you might love it, but the reason why you might quit that sport is because you don't feel supported enough. But I never felt that because I had an
Definitely.
amazing team and everyone just came together when it mattered most. Like the atmosphere at track meets was incredible. Because normally the last event is like the girls 400 or 4. And we would all have like a big speaker. We would all be like huddling. And as one of our runners go, we would follow them like in the infield and cheer them on the whole entire time.
Exactly.
Like even if we're from first place to last place, we would cheer every single person on because they are putting their best foot out there. They are putting themselves out there. and we want them to know that they're being appreciated. That's what I learned
You
about
always have
track.
their support.
I recommend it. I recommend it 100%.
Definitely. Any sport or anything obviously will create, that feeling of home and all that. And obviously with you being like in so many different activities, I'll be honest, you have so many places where you can call home because of how involved you are as a student yourself. So obviously you, as someone who's super involved, where do you feel like like which activity out of everything, like, oh my God, you're stacked, holy, but out of everything that you've done, what do you feel like you've made you grow as a person more?
Well, you're kind of like cutting in and out a little bit.
I can repeat if you want me to. Hello? Yeah. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I was cutting in and out real bad.
Okay.
Okay, but I hear you now.
Okay, so obviously you've had so many places that you've been able to call home, so out of every activity that you've done, what do you feel like has helped you grow most as a person in general?
Oh, this is actually one that I haven't even talked about. I don't really talk about that much because I only did it for such a short time, and it's speech team my freshman year. I did speech team and I did dramatic interpretation, and even though it was a short-lived career, doing speech team showed me that my own limiter is my mind that I talked about beforehand, because like, as I said, freshman year, like I have to emphasize, like I was like a recluse, like I was shy, didn't talk or anything. And then my speech and dramas teacher, she was also one of the speech coaches, and she was like, you should definitely do speech team. I think you would benefit greatly from it. So I was hesitant at first because like if I can barely speak in class and they see think I could recite a 10-minute monologue in front of these people. But I did it nonetheless. And I did a speech that I learned a lot from that speech itself because I played, because if you're dramatic interpretation, you have to like, I guess, portray a character and you have to like act it out essentially. Yeah. So I portrayed this Black lawyer who was talking and telling people about how when they were younger, how they were doing polio vaccine testing on like low-income Black communities and how that trauma kind of affected him throughout his life. Not only was performing that monologue so hard to do because I had to also like research into it because I wanted to like accurately portray this. I wanted to accurately portray the emotions that he felt. I wanted the audience to resonate with it. But when I first competed, because you competed like 4 times, like you do it 4 times, like different set of judges and stuff. So the first time I went up, I said not even half of it, I just talked for 4 minutes. My mind blanked, I sat back down. But I didn't give up though, because there's 3 other times I did do it. And by the time I performed it the last time, I might not have went the whole entire 10 minutes. I didn't complete my speech. But I felt proud because I did get the main message through, and I also beat my own record, and I pushed myself forward, and I used my voice in a way that other people were able to learn from it and like resonate with what I was saying. And throughout the season, I did get better, and I did experiment with my monologue, make it more dynamic, make it more personal. And speech team, even though I did it for freshman year, it gave me the confidence to use my voice. Because that's something that I've always like struggled with when I was younger. It's just also ironic because my name Imanga, it comes from like my dad's like Bashi tribe in the language of Mashi, and it means stand up and speak for what is right. So I think by joining speech team, I was able to truly fulfill my name and truly learn what my name meant, and I was able to carry it out in its full form.
Even short-lived moments can also make a huge impact on your life. Obviously, in the example of you and speech team, along with the many other activities that you do, which is very wow. So, on top of all of these accomplishments and everything that you've done, you were able to earn the Coca-Cola scholarship. So, how was that? How did all this process in your head, and how was that experience? Going to Georgia and meeting everyone else and joining such a big network of other Coca-Cola scholars.
Yeah, I never in a million years would I have thought I would become a Coca-Cola scholar. I remember when I first went, I was like a semi-finalist. I was like at musical rehearsal. I saw my email and I physically jumped up from my seat And I don't see it holding a Coca-Cola. It's like kind of ironic, like funny. And throughout the whole
It's meant
entire
to
like
be.
process, yeah, it was incredible. And throughout the entire like process and stuff, it started like to hit like I actually have a chance. I like my work, my effort, my change is being recognized and awarded. And in the moment I became a Coca-Cola scholar, I remember I was already putting into like this Instagram group chat and stuff, reaching out with people. And everyone was so kind of nice. But I did feel imposter syndrome. Like that was the one feeling that
Oh,
I
yes.
had the entire time. Because like everyone seemed so like I was stalking LinkedIn's and stuff. Like that's how bad it was. It was pretty bad. But the minute I got down to Atlanta and I met everyone, it's just like I was just talking to them. I realized that I was putting these people on a pedestal when in actuality they're teenagers just like us. Like they're humans too. Like they're gonna have like their little
Yeah.
like their jokes, like their interests and stuff, but they just also happen to be very passionate about what they do and carry it out in their best abilities. So being a Coca-Cola scholar, the connections were amazing. I was able to meet incredible people who I know I will be in contact with for a long time. But it also showed me that at the end of the day, we're all just people, you know? Like one person isn't
Yeah.
better than anyone else. Like we're all the same, you know? And it really humanized them.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. You
It's
won't.
like seeing everyone.
Maybe you'll believe me when
So yeah, I was like seeing everyone in
Yeah.
Atlanta.
Oh,
It was amazing. It was amazing.
you might believe me, or probably you won't believe me when I say this, but a lot of people have told me that when they were awarded the Coca-Cola scholarship and went down there, they also felt massive imposter syndrome. Like as
Yeah.
along with the networking, that's also been a common theme amongst every Coca-Cola scholar. They've said that they don't feel like they've done enough compared to everybody else there, and they felt imposter syndrome. That, especially those two words, it said a lot. But y'all have done some crazy stuff to deserve this type of stuff and get awarded. Obviously, you are a Coke scholar and an Amazon scholar too, which is
Yes.
insane.
Thank you.
But in your opinion, yes, yeah. So in your opinion, why do you believe you're a Coke scholar?
I think what made me different, I guess, than the other applicants is my passion, but also how like I talk about my passion. Because I just like talk with my hands. Like when I talk about something that I love, like my eyes light up, my smile, and I just can go on and on. And I think they saw that throughout my essays, but also the interview helped a lot because I was preparing so many like answers and stuff, and they asked questions that I didn't even prepare for. Like I had a whole entire Google document and like they asked us that I didn't even prepare for. But I think because of that, I was able to create authentic and genuine responses. Like he asked me
Nonsense,
what
yeah.
my favorite quote was. And I quoted Marvel because I'm a huge Marvel fan. I was like, what is grief if not love persevering? And then I talked about why I love that quote, how I seen that quote throughout my life. And I went on and on about it. And I think they were able to see that passion whenever I was speaking, because I know the Coca-Cola, they look for change makers, people who have those passions but aren't scared to go after those passions, you know? And I believe that's what they
Definitely.
saw in me. That's what they saw in like the other 149 other Coke scholars.
Definitely. Who's your favorite Marvel superhero?
Wanda. Wanda straight down.
Wanda.
She gets so much hate,
Wanda.
but she's just sad. She's just a sad girl. Like, come on, guys. We all make
Yeah.
mistakes.
Yeah. Mine, yeah, especially with like WandaVision too.
Yes.
Getting her own stuff, definitely. Mine's is Black Panther.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yes. Valid.
yeah.
I have like a whole like Black Panther
Yeah,
like poster and Funko Pops.
Yeah, I think I actually have a Black Panther. I think either here. I think it might be in my room. Yes, actually, I have a Black Panther Funko Pop myself.
Yes.
You
I
know,
love Black Panther.
yeah. It's not obviously not in like Black Panther form, but it is, King T'Challa.
Yeah.
But Black Panther, that is the movie, the only Marvel movie that me, my brother, and my parents all four of us have gone to see both Black Panther and Black Panther 2 in theaters. So, it was definitely a bonding experience. And, that's also another reason. Obviously, like, Black Panther is tough. Like, he is so tough.
Oh my goodness,
Like,
he's amazing.
So tough. Oh my God.
He's so
But obviously with that toughness, my God, no. The suit, like vibranium suit, my goodness. So tough, so tough. Obviously, RIP Chadwick Boseman, but that is with the sentimental value and just how like so tough. Yeah.
Like, the movie is
But
incredible. Like the character itself, like the soundtrack, the visual, everything about the movie
the
is perfect.
soundtrack, yeah. K Dot is my go. Kendrick Lamar, that's one of my favorite. Kendrick Lamar is so goated. Oh my God. Oh my God. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, but I got the Black Panther. I think my brother has Thor in his room because my brother got me this for my birthday like a year or two ago. Yeah, my brother. Whenever it's like birthday time, because Funko Pops, they're they're nice to have as decor, and they're also like pretty cheap too. So that's definitely something me and my brother give. Yeah, that's stuff that me and my brother give each other for like birthdays and stuff. Especially, and like if one of my friends is having a birthday, I usually just give them a Funko Pop of something that they enjoy watching, or something. Because who doesn't like a nice Funko Pop? Like his head is moving. Definitely, definitely. So obviously, to round out this episode, Voice for You, the podcast, is all about empowering the leaders of today and tomorrow. So obviously, with everything that you've accomplished and have done in a short amount of time in school, what is some advice that you can give students that are watching this, or me, or anybody in general, about how to be a leader in their own community and how to achieve great things like you have yourself?
I think the best way to be a leader and to achieve like things that I had and also achieve things that you want to do is never tell yourself I can't. Never tell yourself no. Never tell yourself never. Basically, don't limit yourself. Always have an open mind because what you think and what you believe is going to manifest itself in like reality. Always say if you say I
Definitely.
can't blah blah blah. Say I can't do that yet. Like don't make it a period. Just make it a comma.
Yes.
Like go out there, try
Definitely.
new
Yeah.
things. I just the big thing, don't limit yourself because the world is already going to try to limit you. So why add on to that and limit yourself already in a limiting world? Go out there, try new things because even if you fail,
100%.
you succeeded in trying something new. So that's the main advice.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yellow.
Definitely. Making, don't, especially with the analogy made with the period and comma, definitely, making, because we are still human. We don't have, even though we are still like students, we don't have an endless bound to what we do. It's all about passion. It's all about drive. It's about what makes you happy. And, that's what makes a good leader in today's society.
Exactly, yes.
Well, thank you so much. Yes, yes. But thank you so much, Imanga, for hopping on the podcast today. Obviously, we really wish that, technical issues did not come in the way with everything. But thankfully, we were able to get over this hump, and we were able to get your words of wisdom. You've done so much. Like, it's a crazy amount. So thank you so much for hopping on the podcast today. Thank you. Like,
Thanks
it
for
really
having
does
me.
mean,
This is
especially from
incredible.
someone with, thank you. Taking a shot on me as a smaller creator really does mean a lot to me personally. So thank you so much.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and to the viewers, thank you so much for watching till the very end. Remember to follow the Voice for You podcast on Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram. And once again, I am Jeshwant Vana, and thank you so much, Imanga, for hopping on the podcast, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much.